Hi, everybody. In this video, caregivers are asking how not to lose yourself in caregiving, how not to lose your identity when caring for a spouse or an aging parent can absolutely take over every single part of your life. Let's say that when you started out as a caregiver, maybe you were doing about 4 hours a week, occasionally visiting parents or a loved one, and now it's blown up to 20 hours or 30 hours or 40 hours, or maybe you're living with your parents or your parents have moved into your house and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even remember who I was before this caregiving thing. So I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Stay with me as I share tips for being a caregiver and maintaining your identity, or really shifting identities from any other role in life. Maybe you've lost a job. Maybe you've decided to change careers. Those are all very significant changes. Tips for caregivers are on my website at pameladwilson.com, and there are over 800 videos here for caregivers. So let's talk about our identities. Think of any point in life when you had a major change or a shift. If you're a caregiver, maybe this was the moment that your aging parents, your spouse got sick, and all of a sudden you became a caregiver. It could be the day that you had your first child, or you got married, or maybe you were fired from a job, or downsized or outsized out of a job or a career, or you got a divorce, or maybe you lost a friend through death or lost a family member to death. These are all very significant changes that can really make us question who we are and what we're going to do with our life and how we go on after this great loss or this really great change. And so let's use work, because that's an example that most of us have experienced, right? Most people work. A lot of caregivers work and work at taking care of aging parents and spouses. So there's this sense of identity that is attached to whatever our role is in life. So our job, the fact that we are a caregiver, and our job title. So this could be we're a doctor, we're a nurse, we're a school teacher, we're a restaurant worker, we drive a forklift, we're a truck driver, whatever that is. There's this identity that attaches to like what we do every day. And so the subject of how we shift or recreate that when all of a sudden it goes up in smoke or it disappears is a challenging topic. And if you've never had to face this in your life, it can really seem like a monumental struggle, and you can feel angry and frustrated and hopeless and spending a lot of time in the past being resentful about why this change happened and how this change happened, and can I blame somebody else for it, or was it my responsibility? Readjusting to our role in life or our identity is not about ignoring our emotions, the frustration, the anger, the fear that we feel about this event, but it's more about creating a story about our life and this purpose, whatever this new purpose is, that is going to make us feel proud of the event and how we responded. Now, this shift in identity definitely does not happen overnight. It can take weeks, it can take months, sometimes a year or more. So for anybody who's lost a job, there's two paths, right? You can wallow in sadness and be frustrated and do absolutely nothing. Or you can pick yourself up and look at this change as the perfect opportunity to get yourself out of a rut, to learn new skills, maybe to support your husband or wife or your children, or earn more money so that you can go back to school or maybe buy a car. There's purpose that we can find through changes in our life if we can look at the changes positively. Now, think of another situation that is probably one of the most challenging in life. So few people, thank God, have the experience of being imprisoned for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So imagine being in a jail or in a prison. And now you're being released and you haven't been out in society for, let's say, 10 years. You have to find a job. You've got to find a place to live. You have to reestablish relationships with your family members if you have them. You've got to make new friends. You have to get people to look past your identity as being in prison and to give you a second chance. Prisoners who reenter society need a lot of support from various community services and the healthcare system to make this transition, because what you may not know about the prison population is many of the prisoners have mental illness or they have substance use disorders. They have a lot of chronic diseases. So in a sense, a person in prison is like a person who needs a lot of care when they come out, having zero support on the outside and having to seek it and find it out. So it's really quite a challenge. So if there's ever a time where you need a sense of appreciation in life because you're feeling so down and so hopeless and so out of luck, go volunteer. Volunteer at a prisoner reentry program. Volunteer at a hospice company that supports people at end of life, or any situation where really the fragility and the challenges of life are so overwhelming that it leads you to be able to appreciate the fact that you have your health and your mind is intact and you have family members and you have a job, even though it may not be the ideal job. It'll give you a sense of appreciation of the things in your life, so that if you are having to face an identity shift, you may look at this shift in a more positive life. Now, some people who make a shift in life create an event or they create a milestone. It's like, okay, on my next birthday, I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to give up alcohol. I'm going to start exercising. On the birthday of my child, I'm going to do this. So it's like there's this event that just flips a switch and all of a sudden you move from X to Y. There's also a sense of, like I say, appreciating the past. So job A led to job B, led to job C. Even though the jobs were challenging, you learned something at every job and it gave you the skills to be able to do what you're going to do today, even though it may be different from what you did yesterday. And I can use my life as a point of transition. So when I was in high school, my oldest sister was killed in a car accident. That significantly changed my life, from wanting to go to college full time to saying, that's not practical. I'm going to get a full-time job and I'm going to go to college part-time. And through that experience, I gained my associate's degree, which was a 2-year degree. Then I kept working and I tried a bunch of different careers. I worked at the Federal Reserve Bank and I worked at an oil company and I worked at a consumer products company. All the while, I continued my education at night. So I'm working full-time and I'm going to school part-time. And I got my undergraduate degree. And that then led to me getting another job that was better than the one that I had before. And then the new job, in order for me to get promoted, I needed a master's degree. So I kept going to school part-time, doing my master's degree work while I was working full-time. And during that time, I became a family caregiver for my mother, who had a lot of health issues. She eventually passed away. My father passed away a couple of years after she did, and my brother unexpectedly passed away after my father. So a lot of life transitions for myself. And at that point, I totally decided to reinvent my life. So I took a huge risk and I left my corporate career and I got into caregiving back in 1999, more than 20 years ago, when a lot of people told me that I would fail. And since then, I've actually gone through 4 transitions. So the first was owning a care agency where I had caregivers go in to take care of the elderly. The second was as a care manager and a professional fiduciary, navigating a wide range of care systems for people. Then I transitioned to providing caregiver education and services, which I still do today. But I also decided that I wanted to explore healthcare technology and the clinical side of caregiving. And so I support a company today that has a software product that allows the clinical healthcare side of the healthcare ecosystem to coordinate care with the community-based organizations. And the prison reentry example that I gave a few minutes ago is an example of a software product being able to refer services back and forth between healthcare and community services for prisoners who reenter society. But it also works for everybody else that has a healthcare need. So I'm still involved in caregiving in so many aspects of my life. And those were transitions that I mostly decided to make. Obviously, the deaths in my family were unexpected, and there were some other unexpected things thrown in there. But I was able to build upon previous experiences and successes to continually advance my career and what I do in life. So, and a lot of this kind of came with like emotions, right? Do I do this? Do I not do it? Is it going to work out? Is it not going to work out? So by recognizing the emotions that we feel about becoming a caregiver, losing a job, losing a spouse, making a career change, we actually determine the time frame that it's going to take for us to adjust to this new life and all these habits. It's the same with somebody who is a smoker today and they decide to stop smoking tomorrow, or you drink alcohol today and tomorrow you're done. You're not having another drink the rest of your life. So to make these changes happen, we actually have to be able to envision, right, the change that we want, the new identity that we want, and to start doing the things that that new identity does. So let's say you shift from a teacher to being a researcher or a writer. Well, you don't teach anymore, you write and you do a lot of research and you spend time with other writers and you get your papers published and you write books and you spend time in the writing community. It's a different level of skills than when you were just only teaching. Now, let's put this into caregiving perspective. You're a caregiver and you want to shift from being a 24/7 caregiver or spending 40 hours a week as a caregiver to finding support for your loved one and only being a caregiver 4 hours a week. That is a huge shift. And it takes a huge mind shift to wrap your head around the fact that A, that's okay. B, you're not going to feel guilty about it. C, your loved one is going to still have the care that they need, but you're going to be able to go back and regain your life, which many caregivers want to do. So to do this, you actually have to start engaging in the behaviors that you want to see in your life. So you want to be healthy. You're going to go and join a gym. You want to spend time with friends. You've actually got to go out and make friends now because through all of your caregiving work, your friends went by the wayside and you lost touch with them. Now maybe you can reconnect with some of them, but some of them may have moved across the country or totally changed their lives and those relationships are no longer possible. So you start making new friends. You might take a course. You might join a social group so that you can leave this caregiving identity behind and become this better version of what you dream and what you want your life to become like. Now, changing an identity also includes a couple of things. You got to be able to make that mind shift about how you see yourself. But it also takes a level of self-esteem and confidence that you can actually do this. So much like the hurdle of somebody being imprisoned or incarcerated, to say, yeah, I can go out and be a success in life, shifting from a 24/7 caregiver to somebody who only spends a couple hours a week being a caregiver is a significant mind shift. And you may need support. You may need to be around other people who are making transitions in their life and changing their identities and who are inspirational and motivational and positive and all that. So the biggest thing is you have to stop doing things that your previous identity did. Think about what you want your life to look like. Visualize it in pictures. Pull photos out of magazines. Make lists. Look at this list every single day. And when you wake up, this is what I want my life to be like. I'm going to do things today that contribute to me having this new identity, whether it's going to a new job or helping other people. And by visualizing this, you can create it. And then some of these transitions are easier, again, if you see yourself as becoming this person and helping other people. So, for example, I'm a better husband or wife because I got this other job. Or I have more time to spend with my children because I did have a full-time job and now I have a part-time job that I really appreciate. Or I'm a better financial provider for my family who has a more stable living environment because we moved into this safe neighborhood from this other place that we were living. So there's ways to see life transitions as very positive aspects when we create the story and believe the story and actually believe that we can do it. So making this shift in identity, it's possible when you think about it. And so if you're experiencing any major life change, you were not a caregiver, today you're a caregiver, you're a 24/7 caregiver, you want your life back, you've had a job shift, planned or unplanned, you've lost someone in your life, you have the control to make the decision to change your identity and envision what you want to be in life and to take steps to make that happen. So today, think about who you want to be. Decide who you want to be and figure out what it's going to take for you to get to from A to Z instead of dwelling on any past regrets or angers about how things worked out or who didn't work out, or if you have somebody to blame, or if you want to blame yourself. Give up all of that past stuff and create your new future and your new identity today. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, a lot of hope, help, and support for caregivers and aging adults who are going through a lot of hard life transitions. Thanks for being here. I'll see you all again soon in another video.